Who are you really? When you strip away the body and the personality and the clothes and the hair and the makeup and the shoes and the home and the job, who are you? If you grew up in an environment like I did, aka a Christian one, you learned that you are a sinner. You are broken. You are imperfect. The curse of Adam and Eve, the curse of Cain, all of that still lives in you, and you are a sinful creature, divorced from the Almighty, here doing the best you can with your limited capacities, and you will never know God. His wisdom is far beyond you. Well, isn't that a lovely way to spend your life, being told you're broken, imperfect, not whole, disgusting, basically, sinful? What if instead that weren't actually true? What if you are actually an incarnation of the divine? What if you are holy, perfect, complete, inherently good, and that there's nothing you could ever do to take you away from that divinity? If we haven't met before, my name is Kay. I'm an ecstatic spiritual life coach, author of the book Journey to the Ecstatic Self, and the upcoming queer fantasy novel I Dreamt of Flight. I like to regard my viewpoint regarding God and humanness as being inclusive spirituality. Inclusive, yes, in the sense that everyone's invited. Queer people, straight people, white people, black people, able-bodied people, all genders, doesn't matter. But more so, inclusive in the sense that everything in this planet is holy. Every rock, every tree, every building, every animal, every person, and yes, that includes you. Because from an alternate point of view to that Judeo-Christian vantage that I grew up hearing about being broken, being sinful, being distant from God and the Almighty, is a vantage that says you are perfect, you are whole, you are radiant, you can never be separated from God because you are made of God, and you are one of the creators of the universe. So hear me out. This philosophy goes something like this. In the beginning, there was nothing but unformed consciousness. That God exists as an unmoving, undifferentiated, conscious force floating in a void. What does the void float on? Can't answer that one for you. I once heard a woman say it's just resting on turtles. A stack of turtles all the way down. Which, okay, cool. Go with that. But anyhow, there's undifferentiated, unformed God consciousness existing in a void, filled with orgasmic bliss, enjoying itself. But then it starts to think, or part of it starts to think, well, what would it be like if? And that question sparks a universe into existence. Scientists tell us that this universe began with a big bang, that there was a single point of energy. Another word for energy, consciousness. A single point that exploded into every star, comet, planet, sun that we experience. And so this God consciousness has this idea of what would it be like to be in a world where blank happens, and suddenly, pew, 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 it starts manifesting. In Judeo-Christian philosophy, we have, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. That this word, logos, this thought, logos, created reality. In the Indian Vedas, they also say that the universe began with thought. And what is all this physical matter being spun out into existence but God consciousness taking physical form? And so we, as part of that God consciousness, thought, what would it be like to live a life where blank happens? And so we incarnate into that reality. We become part of that reality and forget that we're part of that cosmic divine. We go off on our little adventure called life, or multiple lives if you believe in reincarnation, where we wander about, have interactions, do things, have successes, have failures, have pain, have joy, have all of this stuff. Eventually to re-merge with God consciousness, remembering what and who we truly are, and return back into the formless, just as the universe will eventually stop expanding, begin contracting, and return back to a single point. The same point that launched the Big Bang, and then another universe will spin into creation. So everything, this chair, this floor, this body, this shirt, all of it is God in physical form, which means you are also God in physical form, which means you can never do anything that makes you less holy, less perfect, less complete than you already are on a very deep level. Superficially, yes, you can do things. You could chop off your own arm and be one arm less. You could do things that hurt your mind or hurt your personality or hurt your body and be without those things in this incarnation. But the deeper you, the you that exists at your core, that when you turn within and connect with your soul stuff, that is indelible. And for every one of us, when we sit and turn our focus within, when we dive deep into a meditative state and experience that Satchitananda, that truth, consciousness, and bliss inside, that indelible eternal state of God consciousness that lives within, we realize who we really are. And that means I am me, but I am also the leaves of grass outside. I am also my neighbor. I am also my brother. I'm also my parents and my children. I'm also that kid who bullied me in 3rd grade. I'm also that person I hated in 8th grade because he was getting better grades than I was and was cool and popular. I am my ex-boyfriends. I am my favorite celebrity. We are all one. And when you begin to remember your divine self, you realize that there is so much truth in that idea that every action we do unto another person, we do unto ourselves. That every action I take, whether it's just stepping on a blade of grass, I'm also doing to myself. And so we try to live with more kindness, we try to live with more forgiveness, and we try to live with loving compassion for all sentient beings. We realize that to exist in this world means that we're going to cause pain, right? My food choices cause pain. Just having a house here in the country causes pain. Birds fly into our windows and get killed, right? Like, I can't live in a way that is true ahimsa, true nonviolence. My existence causes suffering for others, as is true for everyone. So can I try to live as best as I can with grace, forgiveness, love, compassion, and say, I'm going to dwell in that cosmic oneness as best as I can, try to do as little harm as possible, try to have forgiveness for people who do harm for me, and see the divine in everyone and everything, and appreciate every sentient creature that I meet as a manifestation of God. And in doing so, we find our own value. We find the value in the natural world and how sacred and precious it is. We find the value in our friends and family and co-workers. We start to treat life as this amazing gift that it is, rather than something to be taken for granted. Because once we approach it from this mindset of, I consciously chose this world to incarnate into it, to experience it, life becomes magical. And we start to realize that there is little point and purpose in living apart from enjoying the experience of being here. Yeah, if you want to create stuff, go for it. If you want to interact with people in a certain way, go for it. You want to solve huge societal issues, please, please do. But our purpose is to be here and to live and to be present to that experience of life. So how are you cutting yourself off from it? How could you be better about enjoying this life you have with all its comfort and discomfort, with all of its perfection and imperfection? How can you celebrate this existence as the gift that it is and stay present to it? One of the things that I'm doing to that end is trying to not be on my cell phone so much. It's hard for me to be present to this moment when I'm distracted by Instagram or social media or private messaging. Trying to spend time in nature helps me be grounded in this moment. Trying to spend time with people face to face who I genuinely value, who love and respect me, and there's a flow, a connection. That grounds me into this moment. Exchanging love with my partner and being in connection with him grounds me into this moment. And I will say, the more and more I do that, the more ecstatic my life becomes, the more immeasurable joy I live with. And that's what I wish for you. I wish for you, when you're ready, to rediscover your divinity, to rediscover the amazingness of this life, to see how precious it is, regardless of what circumstances you find yourself in. Because whether you realize it now or not, you chose this life, at least to some degree, or your past actions have led you into this life. Actions you may or may not remember, maybe from this lifetime or previous. But you are God. You have created this world. You have created your own reality that no one else lives in, right? We think we live in a shared reality. We don't. We live in separate realities that tangentially butt up against one another and maybe sometimes overlap. But we each live in our own world that we've created. So is it a world that you want to be in? Or could maybe you be making slightly different choices that makes your world a more orgasmic place to be? I'm Kay. This is your ecstatic self. Thank you so much for your time.